A-level physics. Now, probably if you're watching this video, you're going from GCSE to A-level, or you're just repeating the paper, which is not a bad thing, but just in general. So, how is it? How do you work it out? How do you exactly get an A star in it? Well, honestly, if you ask me, it's not that hard at all. It depends. It's obviously subjective from one person to another person, but in general, it is not that hard. It is definitely not as hard as some of the other subjects, especially like chemistry. So how exactly do you deal with A-level physics and maximize your grade in it? So today we're going to be talking about 4 different topics throughout the course of A-level physics that will help you to get a good grade and adjust well into A-level physics. So the 4 topics for today are going to be the same as the maths video I uploaded a few days ago. And they are the main tips you need to know to get an A star in physics, past paper practice and how you should be doing your papers, your schedule from from when the school starts to the end of your final physics paper, and general tips that you can apply to yourself while you are sitting in the exam hall and doing the paper to make sure you get the best grade possible. So, not wasting more of your time, let's dive right into it. So the first topic is obviously the main things you need to know about A-level physics and the main things to get an A star. So before I start, let me just say A-level physics, you're going to find it extremely hard for the first few months of year 12. But don't worry, because that was me as well. And I was panicking because I found everything hard in physics at first. But then eventually it gets so much better, and physics actually becomes one of the best subjects and one of the most easiest to score marks in. So here are some tips that you can apply to get a good mark. Make sure you have a strong grasp of the basics. So by basics, I mean everything you learned in IGCSE. It is very important to remember all of that, because some things they do not teach at A levels, assuming that you've already learned it in year 11. So make sure that you do not forget whatever you've learned in GCSEs. Use the specification. So if you're in summer, open up the specification for whatever exam board you have for physics, A level, and make sure that you, every time you're doing a topic, make sure that you've checklisted everything off from that topic that the specification requires you to know. You've used resources to your advantage. By resources, I mainly mean Save My Exams. So if you do not know, Save My Exams is the best website to use for A-level physics. And then you also have ExamMate, which I will talk about later when we talk about past papers. Speaking of past papers, practice as many of them as you can, because they are your friend, they are your key to success. Without past papers, there is absolutely no possible way for you to get an A or A star. And be consistent. As I said in my maths video as well, that mathematical subjects such as maths, physics, statistics, mechanics, all of that require a lot of numbers, and if you slack off and stop studying for a month or two, you're gonna forget everything you learned prior. So make sure you stay consistent throughout the year and keep studying. If you even if you stop studying for 2-3 weeks, you're gonna forget a lot of the stuff you learned before. So make sure you stay consistent and you do not slack off. Now, as I said, let's talk about how you should be doing your past paper practice. So ideally, you want to start your yearly past papers from the earliest version of the new specification. So for example, Cambridge, they took electric fields out of the year 12 syllabus and put it into the year 13 syllabus. And they did that so in 2020, if I'm not wrong. So ideally, you want to start your past papers from 2020 when the new syllabus was introduced. And once you've done that, then you should refer back to the old specification, because they do tend to ask some of the similar concepts and questions regarding the old specification. Time yourself, which is a very, very important thing that a lot of students underlook, because in the exam, you need at least 15 to 20 minutes to go back and check all of the questions that you may have left, or, just recheck in general. Without rechecking, you can never be 100% sure that you've gotten that question correct. So leave time for yourself at the end. And how will you do that is by doing the questions as fast as you can. And when you're doing past paper practice, you should aim to complete the paper as soon as you can, so you get time at the end. While you're doing your past paper, you should also be listing the topics that you find hard. So for example, I can give an example. Electricity was my arch enemy and I hated it, especially DC circuits, and all of that was my enemy. So what did I do? I went and I did topical questions on electricity until I started understanding it. And that's exactly what you should do as well. Make your enemy your friend, which is a kind of a weird analogy, but what you should be aiming to make make the topics that you find hard into something that you start to find easy. Learn to show every single part of your working and calculation. Now, why do I say this? It is because, especially in physics, working holds a lot of marks. For example, this is the best example that I can give. If a question is asking you about kinetic energy, even if you write Ke equals to half mv squared, you're gonna get mark. And if you input the values, you might as well get 2 marks out of 3. Obviously, one of the marks is for the answer, but just writing the formulas can get you marks. So why not just show, even if it's random working, just show it so you can get some extra marks. Read the question carefully because sometimes they do include some hints which may allow to expand your critical thinking from one concept to another, which you might have not thought if you did not read that keyword in the question. Another thing that I like about past papers is that they teach you a new topic. So every time you do a past paper, it will teach you a new concept, a new method of working, a new calculation, a new formula as well. And that is the best thing because you can summarize every time you find something new. You can go back and write it in your notes, and you can just review all of those notes one day before your actual exam, and they can be really, really useful. So make sure you're writing notes as you do your past papers. Now we come to the scheduling part, which is how you're going to study physics throughout the year and make sure you get the best grade possible. So for me, I have 12 topics in the AS course and 13 topics in the A-level course. For AS students, get at least 5 to 12 topics done by August. And for A-level students, get at least 6 done by August. And after every single topic you do, make sure you do topical past paper question, especially MCQs. MCQ is obviously only for AS students because A-level does not have MCQs. Rather, it just has a one big structured question paper. And the worst part is, sorry for AS students, but MCQs is the hardest paper in physics. Not ATP, not structured questions, but MCQs, because it can twist stuff so much that you will get 100% you're going to get confused. So the best way to master a topic is by doing every single MCQ available to you from your specification on it. Once you master MCQs, you're going to have no problem at all when it comes to structured questions. Ideally, you want to complete your syllabus 3 to 4 months before your exams and start yearly past papers from 3 to 4 months before your board start. And that is the best way that I think you can achieve an A star. Once you start yearly, it becomes a habit, it becomes a routine. You yourself notice a gradual progression in your marks. Another thing that you can do is leave MCQ, because the MCQ paper is usually at the very end of the exams. So for example, if all of your papers end on the 25th of May, your MCQs are likely to be on 5th, 6th, 7th June. So the best way you can do is leave MCQs for the last. That is optional. I would recommend you do some MCQs before as well, but you can, focus heavily on MCQs towards the end, which is, I think, a really good thing and a blessing in disguise. And now to my favorite part, which is maximizing your results while you're doing the paper. How can you do that? First of all, start off at a good pace and make sure to read every single question carefully. Do not forget to convert questions into SI-based unit. And this is a mistake I made back in GCSEs. What I did, it asked me the kinetic energy but gave me the mass in grams. And I forgot to convert it into kilograms, and I probably lost marks for that. But hey, because physics is so generous, you do gain a mark for just writing the formula, as I said before. It is important to leave the questions you do not understand and move on to the next one. And then at the end, come back to the ones you left and make sure you, even as I said before, just write the formula, as you might get some marks for that. Use appropriate stationery when required. So for example, use a ruler to draw graphs, use a pencil, HB pencil, and it does tell you in the instructions column at the front of the page that which pencils it allows you to use, and is usually HB and B if I'm not wrong. But yeah, use an HB pencil. Do not use a pen to make graphs because you will lose marks. And last but not least, show all of your working. Do not directly put your calculator answer in it. Show your working. And that's it. Literally, physics is not that hard. It might seem extremely hard at the start of the year, but when you go towards the end of year 12, it quite becomes like one of the easiest subjects. So I take maths, chemistry, and physics for A levels. And I think maths is, because I'm good at maths, maths is my favorite subject. So maths is first, physics is second, and chemistry is definitely last. So physics is not that hard. It's very easy to get an A in. The thresholds are also very low depending on your exam board, obviously. But yeah, it's not that hard to score an A star in. And anyone who stays consistent throughout the whole year can easily score their desired grade. So that is it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it and I hope you took something valuable from it. Do let me know if you have any recommendations to make a specific video and let me know in the comment section below. But that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you soon. Thank you for watching and goodbye.